know that building the right systems and your mindset could be the key to unlocking the freedom and growth that you've been dreaming of in your business? Today's guest knows this intimately because she's dedicated her life to helping overwhelmed entrepreneurs step into leadership and reclaim their time and energy. I'm your host, Beverly Cornell, founder and fairy godmother here at Wickedly Branded. We've helped hundreds of overwhelmed, overachieving consultants, creatives, and coaches awaken their brand magic and boldly bring their marketing to life so they feel more confident and attract their absolute most favorite and profitable client. Welcome to season 7 of Wickedly Branded Podcast. I'm so excited about this season. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by Eden Lovejoy. She is the founder of Your Virtual GM. Eden is a powerhouse at transforming overworked operators into empowered leaders. Through her unique approach, she helps entrepreneurs streamline their systems, build teams, and finally step out of the daily grind to focus on what matters most. If you're feeling stuck in your business, this episode is going to inspire you to break free and take your leadership and your business to the next level. Welcome, Eden.
Thank you, Beverly.
I'm so glad that you are here with us. Building a system is one of my favorite terms. I'm excited to talk about systems as far as a business is concerned. Let's go back and look at your entrepreneurial journey and what led you to start your business. Was there a spark or something that actually started the business for you?
I've been in business more than once, and I think it's a not uncommon journey. I just have always been driven to do my own thing. I've spent a lot of time in jobs and ending up in a place where the owner of the company or the leadership of the business is making a decision that's not the right decision. I finally realized, you know what? If I want to stop being in environments where I don't agree with the decisions that are being made, I should just do my own thing. And then I get to be totally responsible for all the decisions. I like it. I'm driven to do that.
I was an accidental entrepreneur. A similar situation happened where somebody was making some decisions where I was like, that's a bad decision for the company. And when I got married to my active duty Army husband, I had to take my show on the road. I said, okay, I'm going to do some freelancing. But then I got overwhelmed by all the decisions, Eden.
When you have something that's important to share, the importance of keeping the eye on the ball that's bigger than me, right? So what makes me comfortable doesn't serve the bigger picture that my spirit is drawn to. Sometimes it's harder to make the big decisions, but there's autonomy and there's freedom and there's choice and there's learning. So how am I going to look at that? Do I want to look at it as a pain point or as an opportunity? And I lean towards looking at it all as an opportunity.
Even the mistakes are opportunities. Like even the bad choices, the bad decisions I've made have been opportunities.
Every time. And a manager that I was supervising come to me with a problem or a challenge, and I started to respond to that. And he stopped me. He said, sometimes, Eden, it's not always an opportunity. Sometimes it's just a problem. And I said, no, I disagree. It's always an opportunity. So we're going to do something different.
I believe that's where evolution happens, right? That's the opportunity to level up. Sometimes if you want to just stay at the same level, then fine, it's the problem. But if you want to level up, it's the opportunity.
It's all unfolding perfectly in my belief system.
You got to just keep trying. So when you first started the business, how did you develop your brand and how has it evolved from that very first logo or the very first outward appearance of what your business was going to look like?
When I first stepped out, I didn't even know what I wanted as a company name. I chose something that really was maybe more reflective of more corporate-y. I started off as access management, and I ran with that for a few years. And then I was in a workshop and really started looking at what I really do. My actual corporate name is yourbusinesslifestyle.com. I'm about helping people discover how to be in business and in their life in a way that really works, or how to live a life you love, running a business that you care about, that you're inspired by. Your virtual GM is an evolution of that. My internal vision has always been, how do I get what I know I'm good at, which is general management and operations management, in the hands of as many business owners as possible? I want to make a change in the success rate of businesses in this country, right? The percentage of companies that go out of business in the first 5 years is 70%. And I think a lot of that's because people don't know how to manage teams, how to build systems, how to put organization in place to support their dream. Your Virtual GM is the name of my book, Activate Your Virtual GM. And that is the system that I have designed to really translate what I know I do well into how we implement that in other companies.
I had the same thing 3 years ago, just totally changed my perspective of who are we? I started doing the things for us that I did for my clients all the time. And I decided that I needed to make us the best case study for my clients. So if you're the best case study for your clients, what have you done? What are some of those big decisions that have worked for you?
My system really falls into the three keys, right? There's three keys to how it works.
Okay.
And one is to create an engaging culture. So I hire people, not necessarily, or I bring people on board. Skills are important, but we can teach skills. They have to have the right mindset for what it is that I'm up to, the right framework to work from. And then I am a big believer in delegating authority. Give people the authority and the accountability to do their work and make sure they know. The third piece is really having metrics in place or feedback. I currently own actually 4 businesses. The reason I'm able to do what I do and teach people how I do it is because my other businesses operate on the system. Those are my proving grounds. And I put that in place so that I trust my team. They know what we're up to. They know what is important for achieving company goals. And I get the feedback so that I can make sure there's no mid-course corrections required.
So over the last couple of years, I've been scaling my business as well, like preparing it for scaling. And systems have been so critical to removing responsibility off of my shoulders. Specifically with my team, I created my own methodologies so that other people could execute the system of my methodology on my team. And when I was growing my team was a huge decision because I was easy to hire a bookkeeper and a CPA because I hated doing numbers. That was like a first outsource from a business perspective for myself. A lot of times marketing is one of those things that people outsource pretty early on as well. That first hire that's going to be on your team. And then that system is going to have to start to be created, whether it's co-created with that person or you have a system and you're able to bring that person on, can be very scary.
Yeah, my first hire in my first business where I hired someone was terrifying. I was at a place where I was either going to need to let go of a client that was a key client that was growing. I needed to either write that off and move away, or I needed to hire somebody to help me because it was very clear that I couldn't do it all myself. I was just so fearful of how do I grow? I was working from home. I was working myself. Do I want to grow? And then a business owner that I knew said to me, bottom line is if you can handle having somebody do your work to 80% of how you would do it, then you can have team members. If you can't do that, then you had better always stay a solopreneur. And I thought about it and I was like fearful, but I want to be engaging with people and humans. So that's a good benchmark. The mistake that I made was I hired a really good friend. And I've done it a couple of times in my career. And if you hire a really good friend and you have to fire them because they're not doing the job, it just doesn't go well. That was the first big mistake that I made, but I learned a lot from it. And one of the things I learned was a month or two in from having her on board, and I'm sitting at my desk and I realized I didn't have any mindless left. I had delegated all of that. I realized that I had created a little bit of a challenge for myself to restructure my workflow.
In my experience, I've worked with a lot of subcontractors because we hire out graphic designers, we hire out web developers that work on our team with us, really smart people. And I've learned a couple things that has been really fascinating. And the way I hire is very unique. I feel like I become a better leader because I'm clearer on what I want to do with the business and where I want to go and what the role is for this person. What I just simply started doing at that point was like looming everything that I did so that I had a recording of everything that I did every day. I didn't do any special trainings on it, but as I was doing it, I would talk through it on Loom. And then I had this library repertoire of videos of almost everything that I did in a day. And then when I started removing these drainers from my list, I now started having some SOs and some different things that I could use. I got really good at delegating because now it's so clear. I don't have to do that thing. I have this video. I can give it to this person and I can even now with chat. It's amazing. You can put the transcript in. It creates a step-by-step process. It's freaking amazing. I didn't edit it, make sure it's good, and my own little flair if I need to. When I do that, I also think about theirs. And then I can hand it off and it's replicatable to the team. And the expectation's so much clearer. I didn't have any of that. And I was like, why would you do this thing? There was no system, no constraints. I didn't have a project management system. I don't know how we functioned.
I will tell you, I love your strategy because you capture it in Loom Because I just don't think what business owners have been told since the 80s, right? Starting in the 80s with the E-Myth, it was that owners should work on their business, not in it. So my strategy and what I teach people is how to work with your business, not on it. People don't want to be worked on. They want to be worked with.
I love that reframe. Work with your business, not on your business.
Business that has real high intention is an entity of itself, right? Working with it and inviting other people to contribute and play, the energy gets magnified and multiplied. Operations as a skill set and management is something that can be outsourced, can be invited in so that owner can be the creative or the driver, the visionary, the rainmaker, depending on where you like to be. Unless you're a person who really does love the operations and systems, really think about how you can delegate work, either a vendor or a team member.
I love a good system. I love a good checklist. When I work, I'm very systemized about the process. I love doing the looms. I didn't like anything else with it. I have gotten to the point where my team knows how to create a system now out of my looms. Amazing. I think it's maybe a muscle, delegate, and that you have to practice it and that you get better at it. And I feel like I can go to things that I actually really love to do when I have that time. And it's created space and breadth in my business to be able to do those things.
I had a team and I had grown my business. The role I was in was with the staff of about 6. And you mentioned building that delegation skill. Delegation is not abandonment. It is an active process and it's an active dialogue between two people that is absolutely a skill set to develop. Then I want to tell you how I really got focused on my passion, which is teaching people how to work with teams and develop them. I was running a business, had a staff of 6. I was the founder and I had an advisory board. I went on a trip and I came back from that trip and one of my staff had written a letter to my advisory board characterizing me as abusive, unprofessional. It was a long inventory of the experience this person had at working with me. One of those advisory members went to the rest of the staff and asked if they were having a similar experience. And one of them characterized me as being abusive to our members, to students we had in the training program, and to staff. That is not my heart. Never to be characterized as an abusive person was like, I was mortified. Come back from a trip and I walked in because I liked to go in on Sunday and get myself organized for the week. So nobody else was around, thank goodness, when I came in and I found these documents on my desk. These letters were on my desk for me to find. And it was like, lose your breath but I had a chairman of that advisory board who said to me, he said, you're really great at your operations. It's very clear from the success that you're having, but it's also very clear that you suck at HR. And he hired me a coach. And that coach in that conversation, when I got this tone in my voice, and it's like that tone of thinly veiled rage where we're just barely controlling our frustration. And she said, that right there, like that, you never, ever get to do that again. Not with another person on your team, whatever it takes. You know, at first it took me walking away, right? What I learned was that if people aren't doing what I want them to do, it's for one of 3 reasons. One is that I've not clearly communicated the expectation. The second is that I have not given them the tools and resources they need to be successful at the job. And the third is they're quite simply not a fit for the position that they're in. That anger is not an appropriate solution to any of those 3 challenges. That anger is appropriate for identifying a problem, but fails miserably when it's used to address a problem. And 2 of those 3 things are me that I have to look at first, right? And so I'm very invested in really looking at that piece of, have I clearly communicated? Have I provided the tools and resources? The magic that happened there was 3 years later, I got so excited about what I could learn about how to motivate and inspire people that I'm like, I want to explore this differently. And I had an idea of what a job might look like where I could practice my theories and I didn't find a job. So that was one of the times that I went into business for myself. I said, okay, I'm so focused on what I want to do. And I'm so clear on how I want to be leading people. I hung my shingle and stepped out on my own. And then that former chairman of the advisory board, like 3 weeks later, called me and said, hey, I just got told that I need to hire a general manager and I wonder if you're available. And I was hired from the largest team I'd ever led was 7 people. And I was hired to general manager of a 90 employee company that I was at for 6 years. I was very successful in practicing, but it was like magical because I was willing to see the opportunity, because I was teachable, and because I learned and got excited about, it turns out, a great characteristic as a general manager is I don't actually want to do anything. I love getting things done through the efforts of others. absolutely love that.
I love that too. And I love when I give others opportunities to do things and be successful, I help them shine. And that to me is extremely rewarding. And when I push their skill set or I challenge them and give them opportunities for growth, and I see them evolve and develop and really become these amazing contributors, whatever that looks like for them, that is the icing on the cake, Eden. It used to scare me to be a manager or a leader. And now it's probably my most favorite thing because of those moments, like you're talking about, like the willingness to try and play and grow and make a mistake and not be perfect, but try again. And I love that. This is so good because it leads it to the next part of the question. And the season's a big question because when we don't show up for our business, when we don't show up visibly or with authority, are we keeping our business small and not maximizing the reach, right? So this season's all about visibility and confidence and showing up as a business owner, showing up as a leader in front of your business. For so long, I'm guilty, my listeners. Listen, this is the truth right here. I thought that my work should speak for itself. Like I should do the work, keep my head down, do the work, and it would just be fine. And I did. I was growing and I had referrals and all those things, but the mission and the why and the passion for my business wasn't in front of my business. And I wasn't able to magnify the reach and the ripple effects that we could create. When a business owner understands their why and their passion and who they are uniquely in the space and how they show up, specifically our favorites, which are the female founders of consultants, coaches, and creatives, when they can step fully into who they are authentically and show up as them online, fully with the brand that they have, they can step more visibly into their business. So what does confidence mean to you, and how have you shown up or been more visible on your marketing journey to expand your reach? And what has been some of the results of that? Because clearly podcasting is part of that.
It's interesting. I've spent the last year, I did a lot of things, right? I did a lot of things of trying to reach out, to be out in front, to do those things. What I found is that I was trying to be out there performing to some other people's idea of what I should be doing and crafting messages. I was modifying my true message in order to try to be successful in place.
How many people do this, the comparison trap of what society, I call it the should suitcase. Everyone tells you should do and should be like and how you should show up. And so how did you put the should suitcase down? Like what changed for you?
With everything in my business, if I get to a place where I realize I'm not having fun, then what do I want to do differently? And I went internal a little bit and I really thought about it. And I realized I had invested in trying to promote a brand. And I'm comfortable with who I am and how I present in the world my way without trying to have it be something else that's flashier or whatever. And what I came to, understanding that I came to years ago, is that there's a lot of ways to be right in marketing. And I just need to find the way that's right for me. And I feel like I forgot that for a minute. I published my book and I was like, okay, I got to go out and do this, be this, whatever. And I lost sight of myself. So what I circled back around to is, why would I do that? I would do that because I'm coming from a place of fear. And so the shift for me, the mindset shift, is I only want to be out in the world being who I am, telling the truth about what I've got. And if that's truly helpful in the world, then I will find a way to navigate that. But I don't want to try to be performing to somebody else's story of what it should look like. I just need to do what's right for me.
I went from 3 a.m. stress wake ups of, oh my gosh, I have to do this thing, to the shoulds, right? To 3 a.m.s of, oh, I get to do this thing. When I fully showed up as myself, magic and all, it changed. And my brand is physical. Like I have pink in my hair. And when I go out, I have like sparkles that I put in my hair. And when I started to have fun and play in my business with my brand and everything, it changed everything. It changed my creativity. It was like a big, deep sigh of relief and big excitement of what's possible now. And that's freeing.
Yeah, two things. One, my brand colors are the orange and the blue. It's a very traditional business and I'm business minded and come from business operations, but the orange is life, right? Your business lifestyle, right? That's what I'm up to, is supporting both of those things and that brand piece. Each one of us is uniquely created as a unique expression of whatever your terminology, universe, power, love. The only thing that's really interesting is who you are, right? And through all of this marketing chatter and everything else, what really drives you, what's your story and what's your passion. So I just get to tell the truth about that, and then we'll see where it goes. If it's a small group of people that I get to help deeply or a big group of people that I get to help, I get to trust that outcome too.
And the right people will come to you because they'll know that's the kind of person who they need to guide them, because you're showing up exactly as you. I have a lot of trauma in my background and a lot of stories, and I built this business in the messy middle of life. What it taught me is all the things that are important, right? About my business, about my relationships, about connection. All those things informed who I am as a person and how I run my business and what matters. So I went from being a fairly private person about who I am to actually like, this is who I am and this is what matters to me. People are drawn to your humanness. They're drawn to your story, and that you've turned them into opportunities. And for the listeners, Eden's a great example of this. So many of us tamper ourselves down, thinking we'll be too much, or maybe that we're not enough, like imposter syndrome. And we don't fully just embrace who we are. The other day I was talking about how you can be a masterpiece exactly as you are and still growing. Like you can do both things at the same time. You can be exactly who you're supposed to be right now and also be growing. I am a firm believer of when you let the shoulds go and you fully just be who you are, it's far less stressful and far easier just to show up as who you are. It's a gift. When you can get to that point and have that gift. And when we do like our brand spark blueprints and we do those calls with people to get to their why and get to understand that clarity for them, for their branding and their marketing, it's pretty vulnerable.
I've always known that my mission is to bring success through clarity. I was the oldest of 4 children in a very chaotic environment where things were changing all the time. It was pretty chaotic, but it's not unlike how many employees feel in their employer's business, right? Where the rules are changing, the systems are changing, it's a different decision every day. And I know what that feels like. And I want to bring clarity to those environments where people are coming together in a unit to accomplish a goal, which is unlike a family. I'm like, oh, yeah, I get to take that lesson of my childhood and say, here's some tools that can help bring people out of chaos and into clarity. And I love doing that.
So good. Lean more into who you are always. You're beautifully made. And if you can fully embrace that for yourself, you will save yourself so much stress and burnout in that too. Going back to your why is always very powerful. When I was hustling and I was burnt out and I was always going to give up, and when I took the time to go back to my passions, my purpose, what I actually love, and I've stayed the course with that has been my guiding North Star, changed everything for me. And it bleeds into every aspect of your work and in your life. You focus on transforming overworked operators into empowered leaders. What's the most common mindset shift in clients that need to embrace this transformation? Is it fully embracing just who they are? Is that like the mindset shift?
I think we've talked around it, but maybe to sum it all up is that how do you really move from overworked to operator? What happens for people who are overworked operators is that even if they do have a team, they've set it up so that their team is always coming to them, got answer to every question. People aren't empowered to find the answers to their own questions. When we delegate responsibility, we have to also delegate authority to be able to complete it. The piece is to really learn to trust that other people can do it without you having your hands on it. When you begin to do that, other people can begin to perform and contribute to your company with you.
So good. I know we've all worked with people who we've had to been micromanaged, like we've had to report to, and it doesn't feel very fulfilling when you work for someone like that. When I empower people on my team to do things, I want you to try to figure it out. And if you make a mistake, I don't want to encourage them to make a mistake, but I also want them to not be stressed about possibly making a bad decision. We'll figure it out. I have all these 13 years and we'll figure it out again. There's been a couple people specifically who are so afraid to make a mistake that I've literally been like, you need to make a mistake now, get it over with. It's going to be fine. Even the older team members who've been with me for longer are like, she's really to see the truth. No one really believes that's actually like a thing. You can make a mistake and no one's going to die. And they have to convince them it's okay to do the thing, to take the authority, to make the mistake, to also get the success. Because what they start to see is, that's a great idea. I wouldn't even have thought about that. I love that you took that risk. Like they start seeing those moments and then they get more empowered to do the thing and take the risk possibly. And have the success, or maybe need a course correction, which is pretty simple. It's not usually that difficult to do. Team members bloom with that. It's not only do they have personal pride in their work, they have pride for the business that we work for.
When you're clear on your why, then they can get clear on it too and have that buy-in. And sometimes it's just really helpful just to tell people it's within the scope of your authority to make that decision. I'm open to hearing what's your best idea about how to solve it. And we have to prime on people. I trust you with this. It's within your authority. Just to say it very clearly, and then be willing to be a resource when they check their ideas if they're uncertain. And eventually they'll look like, oh, it's really within my scope. I'm going to make this decision. And like you say, sometimes I remember one time where I assumed something was in my scope and I made a decision and my boss said, oh, no, that area is not yours. Oh, okay. Now I know that area is outside of my.
It is magical. It is absolutely magical. I had a previous employee, Eden, who I met up with just a few weeks ago that I had not seen in probably 6 or 7 years. And I'm a very different leader now. And she was like, Beverly, I just want you to know that I wouldn't be where I am without you. And it made me very that's so nice for her to say that. I think even if you try hard and you believe and you are a human and all of this, even as my best leader, I still was helping and trying my best in the process. And I think she saw that, but totally different now experience and so many more systems. So I learned a lot from her, but I thought that was just so sweet that even when I was messy, she still thought there was value.
Sometimes people learn from our transparency. And here's another tool that I found very helpful in the past. When I know that I'm not doing as well as I like and I'm trying to learn in a new direction, I can ask my team and give them the authority to reflect back to me. If I find myself going in that space again, could you just remind me, hey, remember you didn't want to do that anymore? Give people the authority to help me continue to grow as a leader when we recognize those things that we want to change in ourselves.
If this conversation is resonating, or if you know somebody who's struggling with this, I would love for you to share this episode with them or to leave us a comment and let us know what is actually resonating, what bits of magic you've heard from Eden's story or some of my story that have been powerful. This could be the exact spark that your friend or you might need to make that change, to become more of an empowering leader for their work. It means a lot to us. Put together the podcast when we get feedback and what really resonates for us, and then also what you share with people. It's magical for us. Speaking of magic, I do have a magic hat round. It's sparkly and purple, and it has all kinds of questions in it. And we let the universe decide what this rapid fire section's all about. How do you want your clients to feel after they work with you? Hey, I know you're listening today because you're ready to take your business and your brand to the next level. But if you're being honest with yourself, maybe even feeling a little bit lost, but you've got this big vision and you know that you're meant to make a bigger impact. But sometimes it's so hard to know where to start and which direction to take. Does that sound familiar? You're not alone. So many purpose-driven entrepreneurs feel the exact same way as you. That's why I created the Clarity Quiz, a simple tool that helps you get to the heart of what's holding you back and shows you where you need to focus next. No more second guessing, no more spinning the wheels, just clear, actionable insights that give you the confidence to move forward, that next best step. Taking the quiz will give you a deeper understanding of your brand's true potential and what's standing in your way. And the best part, it only takes 3 minutes, but the results, they could transform the way you approach your business and brand forever. So if you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and you want to start showing up with purpose and clarity, go to wickedlybranded.com and take the quiz now.
It's all about freedom to be in the life that you want, to be able to sleep well at night, take a vacation, and trust that their company is running smoothly and without them.
How has running your business changed you as a person?
My business is a reflection back to me of how I'm doing. So I get to watch myself grow through the evolution of my business, more confident, more effective, and more courageous.
What's a common misconception about your industry that you'd love to debunk?
That an owner's responsibility is to work on their business. It worked great in the 80s and the 90s. In today's world, working with the next generations, we really have a responsibility and an opportunity to work with our business and with our teams to see what we can co-create together.
I love that change. I'm going to use it from now on. So you've got a convert here, Eden. What's a decision that completely changed the trajectory of your business?
I decided that I didn't want to be a consultant. Consultants, I think, come in and tell you what's wrong and then leave you to figure it out. And so when I switched from my first company name and that consultant mindset to yourbusinesslifestyle.com, I shifted into done for you packages. If I want to come in and be a part of your team and play with you while we're working together. And I love that. So it was a huge trajectory shift and a mindset shift for me.
What's the worst advice you've ever received? Business advice.
Oh, worst business advice. I think the quasi business in a business environment, but to be willing to be house poor and to tie up resources in my home rather than freeing them up to be investing in other things. Real estate's a good investment, but being willing to be house poor means too much gets left off the table.
What do you think sets your brand apart from others in your industry?
I have developed a system for business organization, but it is going to be different for every company because it always pivots off the owner's why, their mission, their values, and their vision. It's not like a cookie cutter, have these kinds of meetings with these kinds of agendas, but it's have this architecture. So it's completely customizable. Again, designed to your business lifestyle, support you and your business that is going to be unique to the owner. It's very owner-centric rather than system-centric.
Okay, so that is the end of the magic hat round. But now we can move to the magic wand round. We're going to wave it and we're going to go back in time to 18-year-old Eden. And what advice would we give her that you wish you'd had that you know now?
So you have to know that 18-year-old Eden in her very first business adventure was living in a small cabin with no running water or electricity in a tiny town in Alaska selling firewood for a living. But it is where I developed my love for small business, right? The advice that I would give is advice that I got midway in my career and didn't follow, which is don't sell yourself short. Be willing to charge for the value of what you contribute, not what you think the market will bear.
Yes. You should definitely charge for your services. Oh my gosh. Yes. We're not here to do this for free. We all have to live. Plus, the thing that most of my clients struggle with is they feel like if they raise their prices, that it makes them seem greedy or something. There's a lot of money mindset issues. But what I say all the time is if you have more money, you can give your team, we can grow your team. That gives them opportunity to feed their families. You can donate to your community. There's all kinds of things that can happen with the power when you are given a true salary for yourself that can happen, which is the truth.
No one is served when you make yourself small.
So what would 18-year-old Eden in that no water cabin in a very small town in Alaska say about where you are now, Eden?
Probably just you go, girl.
Bigger than what she would have expected for herself?
No, I think she wouldn't have known what she expected for herself in that moment. But by the time I was 19 or 20, I knew I wanted to be in small business and that I wanted to make a difference. And I've had a very consistent intro messaging for a very long time about what it is that I'm up to and why and how. And so I think mainly what she would say is, oh my gosh, celebrate. Just celebrate because you're doing good.
So you need to go celebrate after this podcast.
Okay, I will do.
Her or whatever you would do to celebrate. That would be amazing. So I'm going to wave the wand again and I'm going to go far into the future and we're going to be at your funeral and your eulogy is being read. What do you hope that people say about your work and your impact in the world?
She helped me discover what my real passion was and gave me the freedom to explore it, to be who I am in the world and to have my business or my life, depending on my mentoring. The consistency is that she helped me discover my true voice and where I really wanted to be and help me get there.
I'm going to wave the wand again and we're going to come to present day. In your business, Eden, what is one branding or marketing challenge that you would like me to wave my wand over and fix today? Is there something that maybe you're struggling with right now that maybe I can help you with?
I think the controversy between multiple channels and platforms or really digging deep into one.
My advice is always to go deep on the place where your ideal target hangs out. So where are your people? If your people are on LinkedIn, you need to own that platform. You can have a very light presence on the others and repurpose some LinkedIn content there. But I say there's too many platforms now. It's a full-time job just to be on every platform. I really suggest you spend as much time on LinkedIn that you're active, you're commenting, they say you should comment for like 10 to 15 minutes before you actually post anything. Be active and human on that platform. That's going to get you the most benefit out from the algorithm than if you try to spread yourself and do the same thing everywhere. This also comes down to with the drain and the driver, right? So maybe there's one platform that you love as well. Stay more on that one because people can see through that. They know if you love it or not. So if you love Instagram, there are people who are in your space there as well. Be true to you in whatever platform you choose. And then I always say, you need to also spread yourself to other things. Don't just be a social media manager. So go in on the one that you love, that your niche is at, and do it genuinely, and you'll do very well.
Thank you.
It's a great question. And a lot of people ask that question about there's so many tools. What do I do? There are things like aggregators like Metricool, and Metricool is not very expensive. And I oftentimes recommend it because you can post on one and post on several. It reformats and you can post at different times and different things. If you really just want to have a presence on them, that will serve you well. But I would organically go onto the tool and post and engage on the tool of the one that you really want to be active on for your people. Good question. What do you think it means to be wickedly branded to you? What does it mean to you? How do you show up wickedly branded? And what advice would you give our listeners to be more wickedly branded?
Really, to be wickedly branded is to be recognized, understood, and known as the expert in exactly what I do, right? To have people know without confusion, oh, you want to do that? Talk to her.
Yes. To be known as the person who does the thing that you want to be known for and be genuinely authentic in that. Absolutely. What would you give advice would you give to our listeners to be more like that?
Oh, I think we've touched on it. Know your why. Find your own style. Don't be afraid to be goofy or different. Goofy and different is totally stands out. Be yourself. Have fun. Just get out there and do it. When I started in business, marketing was just the thing that was the hardest for me. And I had a mentor say, just do one thing every day. One thing every day. And really the lesson for me was just do it. The only thing I can absolutely do 100% wrong is nothing.
Yep. Consistency and persistency is half the battle for sure. Eden, this is so good. Thank you. Where can our listeners connect with you and find out more about what you do?
Yourvirtualgm.com. Activate.
There's also on LinkedIn, you are Eden Lovejoy on LinkedIn too.
Yep. So listeners can find me, Eden Lovejoy, on LinkedIn. If you'd like a copy of my book as a gift to readers on this podcast, go to freebusinessbook.com and feel free to download a copy of my book. It's my gift to you and learn more about my philosophy, my system, and my style and what I teach.
Wonderful gift, you guys. Say that address again for the free book.
Freebusinessbook.com.
Freebusinessbook.com. Wonderful. Take advantage of that, my listeners. I would love for you to get all the free advice you can get. And then if you find something that you're really connected to, reach out to Eden on LinkedIn or through her website and see if maybe it makes sense for you to work together to help get those operations and systems in place so that you can enjoy vacations and breathe and do things that you might not even think were possible because you're burned out and hustling. I really hope my listeners have found some tips today, some new ideas, and most of all, feel inspired to take some level of action, whether it's to download the book or to maybe lean more into their why, or maybe it is to hire that first employee, create some systems and hire the first employee. Because here's what I know for sure, that every single one of your messages matters, that your business and work matters, and the world needs to hear what you have to say. Because marketing isn't just about visibility. It's about the impact that you make in the world, the ripple effects into your community. It's about connecting with the right people in the way that feels absolutely 100% true to you. So keep showing up, keep sharing your brilliance, and keep making all that magic in the world. And hey, if you ever feel stuck, you don't have to do this alone. We are here to help you turn that spark into a wildfire. But until next time, I dare you to be wickedly branded. Wow, what an incredible conversation we just had. I hope that this episode lit a little bit of a fire under you to finally bring your brand to life in a way that feels true to you. Remember, clarity is the spark, but activation is that fire and flame that keeps your message and your visuals and your strategy aligned, and the confidence that follows. So does that lovely thing called momentum that you've been waiting for. So if today's episode, if you loved it, make sure you are subscribed to the Wickedly Branded Marketing Podcast so you never miss an insight or a conversation. Until next time, dare to be wickedly branded.